Hello from Russia. My name is Niki, I live in St. Petersburg city, and this video I'm going to show you how much an ordinary Russian person can make for a living in this city and what our typical monthly expenses look like. I hope you will understand what's life like in Russia a little bit better after watching this. I received some interesting comments about my last video. Someone from Canada and Australia were surprised to see that grocery prices are much lower in Russia compared to their countries. Someone from Germany and Belgium said that prices are similar, but it's important to take one thing into account: people's average income. If I, or my mother, or any other random stranger in Russia would buy, let's say, a kilogram of tomato for $5, it would feel so much different from getting a kilo of tomato for $5 in another country. Let's say somebody from Germany will spend about 3% of their daily income, and someone in Russia might spend 30% of their income for exactly the same thing. Today we are going to talk not only about food, I want to show you a bigger picture. But first, let's go grab some coffee and a celebration cake. I'm celebrating my first serious YouTube paycheck. I quit my job in November 2019 and it took me 1 year to start earning something on my content, basically on my TikTok channel. Before the war and before all the sanctions, I earned something about average income in St. Petersburg city, and I was alright with that. Then TikTok banned Russians, PayPal banned Russians, Patreon said they will still be working with Russian creators, but they will hold all funds because there is no way to transfer money into Russian bank accounts for them right now because Russia simply cannot use SWIFT as before. So I kind of faced the situation where I technically can keep earning money as usual, but I had no way to transfer it into good old cash. 2 months later, I'm feeling relieved about this. YouTube continues to pay normally, so all ad revenue and all your donations are not stuck anywhere, and this paycheck is huge. If last time YouTube transferred me $40, now it's like having an average New York City salary. So cheers guys, I'm really happy to have such opportunity to share my daily life with you, and really happy to see that it actually pays off. I talk a lot about money and cost of stuff on my channel simply because we live in the world where money matters. And if you want to tell me something like, hey Niki, money don't buy you happiness, they don't buy you love, health, money buy you a better lifestyle. And better lifestyle leads you to having a better health, to having better relationship with people because you don't have to worry about minor things. And money leads you to general stability. Only after reaching a certain borderline, money don't really matter. I would estimate the absolute majority of people in Russia living under this line as well. Official average wage in my Siberian hometown, Omsk, is around $500 per month after tax, and here where I live in St. Petersburg, the average official wage is about $900. But what about the real wages? Imagine me being not really fortunate enough to make a living as a blogger. What kind of job could I find here in St. Petersburg, taking into account my personal skills, and how much will they get paid here? Without any specific skills, I could try finding a job of a delivery guy, or hotel receptionist, or a barista. I'll try searching job offers online and give you a breakdown of what real salaries are in Russia for my potential jobs and for other major professions. So what I see from online job offers, there's a lot of barista positions in St. Petersburg, various kind of coffee shops and restaurants, and they basically offer anything starting from 30,000 rubles, and it's not like the salary is fixed. Looks like one part of the salary is indeed fixed and another part is just a percentage from what a barista sells during the day. But this I don't really understand because like barista doesn't have a control of how many people come over to the coffee shop and what they buy, so don't know how it works in real. I found really interesting offer. That is a tiny coffee shop very close to the place I live. I think I pass it every single time when I go to Subway. And on all this stuff they write, they say something like, your salary will be above average. Absolute minimum is the average income in St. Petersburg and the average income at our coffee shop is 36,500 rubles, which is interesting because official average income in St. Petersburg is around 70,000 rubles per month. But apparently the real companies, the real job market shows the real average salary.
Пару дней в поиске полистала страницы и наткнулась просто на объявление о поиске вакансии. Пришла чуть ли не на следующий день, устроилась и начала работать. Ну а до этого я там прошла через ужасные места работы, через собеседования, которые ни к чему не приводили. Вот. Это такая счастливая случайность абсолютно. Средняя зарплата в Петербурге это примерно 18-20 тысяч. Когда люди зарабатывают от 50 до 100, это на самом деле не всем это доступно. А так, примерно люди, правда, тут зарабатывают где-то 20 тысяч, и Питер удобное место, в том плане, здесь много комиссионок, много бесплатной штуки, и тут, в принципе, можно жить на широкую ногу и все себе позволять, и при этом очень мало зарабатывать.
But what if I try to apply the skills that I learned within the last few years? Like, my English is good and I have a TESOL certification, so perhaps I can find a job of an English teacher or maybe English translator. I also have some video editing skills, so perhaps I can find a position of a video editor for a local company or maybe for another YouTuber. I would say I might earn about 45, 50, maybe even 60,000 rubles as a translator. And talking about video editing positions, perhaps about the same money. The good thing is that it's scalable. There is a lot of room to improve your skills and improve your salary, your potential salary as a translator or video editor. Thinking about this, I actually realized that I'm not that hopeless and I could actually do something instead of being just a YouTuber if I wasn't fortunate enough to get such a huge audience to watch my videos. Talking about other jobs' income, here's a short list with salaries per month after taxes. That's how we count it in Russia. This is info from real job offers I found on a few websites in St. Petersburg city.
Средний уровень, думаю, где-то примерно в интервале 50-60 тысяч рублей. Примерно такую вот как раз сумму и трачу, то есть 50-60, примерно так.
Кем вы работаете?
Научным исследователем.
Вроде как я слышал о том, что где-то в 40-60. Вот. Последнее время я трачу не так много, потому что заработок у меня немножко упал. А так, ну если хороший месяц, хороший заработок, наверное, 1100-120.
I think I also should mention pensions for our elderly people, and here's an example of my own grandmother, my mom's mom. Every single month she gets about 10,000 rubles from our government, which is clearly not enough for comfortable living. If my granny doesn't have any support from my mom, most likely she will be having like really poor kind of life. It's actually a very important thing to talk about the pensions and life of elderly generation in Russia. I don't have any videos about this thing yet, but here I want to mention one channel that you might be familiar with already. Vasya in the Hay. Perhaps some of you already watched his videos because it is the second time I'm mentioning this person. Vasya in the Hay is basically a channel about people who live in remote places in Russia. About people who are far away under that borderline that I mentioned previously in this video. Every time I watch videos from him, I learn a lot about what's life really like in Russia far away from places like St. Petersburg and Moscow. Most of the stories that you'll see there are simply heartbreaking, but also very real. The latest video he uploaded is actually very much suitable for the things that I previously mentioned. He literally went on the streets to talk to our grandmas and also to help them. I'll put a link to this video in the description. And guys, I really encourage you to check out Vasya in the Hay channel, because guys, once you do it, you'll understand why I say words like this. Now let's talk about the expenses, because life in a bigger city is not a cheap thing, especially here in St. Petersburg. Talking about expenses, there are two things that you spend the most of money in Russia. First is accommodation, you basically have to have a place where you live. And second thing, obviously, the food you eat. I would estimate the average expenses for accommodation in St. Petersburg city to be anything around 15 to 20,000 rubles a month. For this amount of money you will get a normal, quite convenient place to live. Talking about the place to live, let me show you my tiny serviced apartment. A year ago when I arrived to St. Petersburg city, I found this place, and that time I was paying 23,000 rubles for 1 month of staying here. Then I moved to Lisa's apartment, then I came back here, and currently this place costs 33,500 rubles a month, which is a little bit above average in St. Petersburg, but I find this place really comfortable. Here is the place I sleep. Here's a nice picture of Russian bear. Here's 1 and 2 windows. My working station. I'm editing the video and I just realized that I went too random talking about the money stuff. Here's the place I cook food, and here's the place I take a shower and go to the toilet. Talking about other expenses of living in St. Petersburg, for groceries I typically spend about 15,000 rubles a month, and I consider it to be about the average. Of course you can go really cheap surviving, let's say for $1, $2 or $3 a day. I actually made a video about surviving in St. Petersburg for $2 a day in terms of food, and it was alright. The food was actually even delicious, but it was not healthy, of course. It's very common to a Russian family to spend about 30-40% of their monthly income for getting accommodation, another 30-40% spending for their monthly groceries. So spending a lot of money for accommodation and food makes many Russian families, the majority of Russian families, worrying a lot about surviving from 1 month to another month, and having less energy, less desire, and even less courage to worry about bigger things, let's say about the madness that is happening between Russia and Ukraine. The reason I'm making this video and talking about this is not to cry about low Russian salaries, but to show you a bit of reality of life in Russia, so you possibly can understand me and other Russians a little bit better. And I find this quite important and interesting thing to share, because there is a real correlation between how much people earn for a living in Russia, how much they struggle to survive, and how much they support our government, or I should say how much they are afraid to do anything against it. Thank you for being with me, спасибо and пока.